You know, I think the tariff surprised people the way it was done. The calculation's weird. I don't think it leaves a good opening for negotiations. I think the market reaction, if anything, I hate to say it, is probably underdone. I think there should be more selling. I think there's still a lot of belief that somehow the art of the deal is alive and that people are going to come to the table and negotiate. I do not think that's true.
Okay, so what do you think will be happening then?
I really think the rest of the world is going to sit there and say, well, he's made a few mistakes where he's already had to backtrack on things like potash. He's already had to give emergency funding to farmers. I suspect that we're going to wait and see inflation's going to creep higher because he tariffed everyone. So there's no alternative. So I think you'll see inflation creep higher. We know Americans hate inflation, as does everyone. And I think you're going to see people sit back and wait, not come to the table. He's going to stew. And then instead of coming to the table, they're going to start saying, you know what? We think we should put some service tariffs on you and come attack the U.S. I think $30 trillion GDP has picked a fight with $80 trillion global GDP. And it's not just on the tariff front, right? How we've been behaving geopolitically, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, NATO, Greenland, Canada, Panama. I think there's a lot of angst and concern about the U.S. And he's done a phenomenal job of pushing the world away from us, I think, right now. And that's going to pay, we're going to have to pay the price, and it's going to be through equities.
That scenario, well, I guess under that scenario, which is a fairly dire scenario, what is an investor to do here?
So I think you're supposed to be very cautious. I do, and this hurts to say, but I think you're supposed to reload up on Chinese stocks so you can buy FXY or KWEB. I just see almost every scenario. People wind up turning to China. They're the one place that has excess capacity. They are desperate to sell their brands globally. They're going to need raw resources. And I think we've turned it away. I think until this administration goes back, you know, they love to talk about you don't have the cards. I think we have to go back and examine our own hand and figure out we do not have the cards I think we do. And we're going to have to go back and play nice a little bit.
So when you're looking at Chinese equities, is it domestically focused because we're still anticipating sort of more fiscal stimulus coming in support, or is it going to be those with exposure to overseas
I think it's going to be those overseas as well. And I think you can go even in the
both.
Yeah, the tech companies there, right? Again, they've made some strides already on AI. And again, I'm not sure what all these chip tariffs and things are going to do. I know, you know, Taiwan's been exempted, but that could slow down our own build out of AI. I think this has just been very bad policy, and it's too focused on basic manufacturing. We should have had policy that was designed around chips, really high tech stuff, biotech, and that's not what's coming across so far.
So I guess one of the questions here is, how long do you expect this to play out? Is there a point where this market feels washed out? Are we at that stage? John Tucker's reporting that the Russell, the small caps, already just hit a bear market contraction. How about the broader market?
I think it's got a ways to go still. I keep pulling up and looking for where are the outflows in the big ETFs. They just aren't there. I think a lot of people, I think we're actually in a really horrible position where a lot of people are bearish and say they're bearish, but are still positioned bullishly. And so I think there's a lot more room to wipe out. My favorite stock, I will look at TQQQSO, so shares outstanding on Bloomberg all the time. That is back to roughly the highs. That's a triple leverage QQQ. I want to see that really shrink back to levels we saw in early February. Then I might believe retail's been washed out. This buy the dip mentality is prevalent. If people are still buying the dip, I don't know where they have that money left unless it's on leverage. So I think we get one really good washout, and maybe it takes us down 5-10% from here. Then maybe I get excited.